Oh shit! I fucked up now. Fuck.
What happened?
I didn't have your screen maximized. Now I have it maximized.
Try one more time.
Yeah, we don't have to slate.
I got a system overload.
It's waiting to connect.
We got it on the last one.
I'm not hearing that.
Oh yeah, it wants me to log in again. Shit. Listen to.
That's not good.
What?
Son of a bitch. There, got it. It's coming through.
Hey children, welcome to the Mixorcist.
Mixorcist.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Mixorcist.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, EB. What about you, man?
Oh, I had a lovely evening last night looking out at the rapidly moving clouds. We've kind of been in and out of tornado warning territory here. And I just started thinking about Max von Sydow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
I think
Father Marin. Lancaster Marin.
That's right. And other classics such as Strange Brew. Right? He's the brewmeister, the evil brewmeister.
That's
and then
right.
There's that 1984 movie Dreamscape. And he's in it. And Dennis Quaid, Kate Capshaw, Christopher Plummer. That one where they go into people's dreams and they're like, they can, you go into someone else's dream and like mess with them, right?
That's good.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I watched it again about 2 weeks ago, I think, and it's held up just fine. I mean, yeah, the effects are a little dated and that sort of thing, but it's fantastic. I mean, what's wrong with Max von Sydow for like 2 hours? It's awesome, right?
Yeah, get yourself a fest in. Why not? The late, great Max von Sydow. And then I watched on the weekend, Midsummer. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's not really a horror movie per se, but it's terrifying in its own right. Yeah. And it's extremely, like, the mood is really dense and weird in the midst of like a lot of sunshine and blue skies, but it's just creepy and the whole thing. It's a mess, but watch it. It's really
totally
good.
Uncomfortable,
you gotta see it.
Right? It's totally uncomfortable.
Which is sometimes what you want.
Wouldn't want to.
Well, I know all about what you want to know all about. All right. So what do we got today? Eric, I think we're going to check out some Airwindows. What do you say?
Yeah, the Airwindows episode.
So Airwindows is a suite. Maybe you want to give the history. Maybe you know a little more about the developer.
Yeah, I do. Chris J. is his name. Admittedly, I don't know what the J stands for. He's
genuine.
Genuine. There you go. OG, yep. Right? He is OG because he was. I remember hearing the name Airwindows like early 2000s. I think he's been doing it a real long time, and at that point they were, I believe, Mac only plugins. So I had PC, so I didn't get to play with them. But his way of coding is a little bit different from a lot of other developers in terms of like he likes to use different techniques, strange math, like averaging filters instead of biquad filters. Like he makes compressors and delays, but he also makes like a game plugin that's like Purest Fade, it's called, and he's like he's trying to minimize all of the little rounding errors that can sometimes happen on nobody wants to hear, oh, there's something wrong with my fader, and there kind of isn't, but he made a plugin that's like supposed to have even better gain control. So he'll do stuff like that. I mean,
look at the list of stuff that you get, and it's more like a pay what you can or Patreon model, I believe.
Yeah, it is the Patreon model.
Look at the crazy amount of plugins you get. I'm just scrolling here. That's nonsense. Look at it.
200 plugins.
You can almost
never.
200. Yeah, you can never dig in on all these. It's not possible. So let's take a look, though. The downside is that the GUI is ugly as original sin. Like, let's face it.
Well, there isn't one. That's what's going on here. Like, he doesn't program one. So whatever your DAW, when it gets a plugin that doesn't have a GUI, it'll just assign something. So it'll assign that. So the basic stock, in this case, Logic plugin window, right? So let's talk about the functionality, though. This one's called Bit Shift Gain. Now, as a podcast engineer and host, this one saved my butt many times because I don't do interviews often, but when I do them, people are dialing in across an internet connection using their earbuds with no sense of how to set gain properly. So you can't fix clipping, but everything else you can fix. And now if it's too loud or too quiet, you can use bit shift gain to mathematically change the volume by literally shifting the bits in the audio snapshot.
rather than interpolating it using some point on a fader. So the theory is this is supposed to be cleaner. I can't say that I can hear it. And let's just check it out. Let's watch it in action. So let's run a drum loop here. Push it up by 2 or push it down by 2. So this would be better than using, let's say, the normalize function in your DAW, because the normalize is going to do a lot of, again, interpolation and crazy math to bring your signal up or down to a certain level. This just shifts the bits. So whatever was there, and it remains there.
Right.
Now, one thing to note is because this is not measured in decibels or fractions thereof, whatever the next stop is the next stop. So there's nothing between, let's go to 0.
That's right. Yeah, the steps
there's
are
nothing between
6 dB. It's 60 dB steps for every bit that you're adding or subtracting, right? So
watch my meters at 0 real quick. The drums right here are peaking at what's that, -5 or -6? I can't read that. Let's crank it up by 1. Now they're peaking at -4. One more. Still peaking. Oh, you know why I've got a limiter on? My bad.
Oh yeah.
So that's already too far. Bring it back down to 1. And it's actually going over as well at 1. So you don't have a lot of variability here. You bring it down to 0. And if you need something in between, you end up using the fader anyway. You're probably ruining the advantage of using bit shift gain in the first place.
That's right.
But it's brilliant. It's brilliant in terms of the simplicity of it. Like, it just needs to be 3 or 6 dB louder. This is a perfect tool. Now, you're going to get into some of the more musical or functional ones, but let's try one more.
Yeah.
Under Airwindows, he's got a couple tape ones, and I really like what they do.
Tape ones are great. Also, while we're still on the topic of bit shift, he does have one that's called Purest Fade or Purest Level or something.
Yes.
And that it's not quite as unobtrusive as bit shift, because nothing is. But he did, so it is doing some math, but that's still supposed to be a bit cleaner than what's going to happen in most DAW's faders. So,
the fader in your DAW.
So he does have that. So, I mean, again, this is stuff that's so subtle, right? That's like, you might not hear it. You might hear it if over the course of like hundreds of tracks or something, and a lot of processing, but it's there, and he programmed it for us.
If your theory is that the less invasive, obtrusive, destructive each plugin is, it has an additive effect. So if you're using a lot of processing, every chance you get to keep things pure is probably better. So let's grab a plugin here called 2Tape 6, and let's just roll the drum track, and let's pump it. Let's hit the transformer or the tape really hard. Let's use soften and head bump to see what that does across the different frequencies. Have a listen. Let's move the input up. Already, not only do I hear more volume there, but I'm hearing something happen in the bottom end, right? Something in the basement is starting to get nice and round. Let's see if we can normalize that. Okay, so without, with. You can hear some toastiness happening in the top end, or the mids rather, and you can definitely hear some stuff happening in the basement. Now we can move the head bump around, and we can play with the soften control and even the flutter control for some really cool. Let's see what it does. I'm hearing things move around in the stereo image a bit. Here, everything is a little more locked towards center there. That'd probably make more sense on a guitar or on a vocal, but let's try head bump. Here, you take it all out, and that bass bump is gone. Bring it all the way back in, and that's starting to get like a subtle breakup, almost like a farting sound, right? And let's see what soften does real quick. Not sure the difference is so obvious on that one. I couldn't really hear it myself, but that may smooth the transients over, something we can try on another instrument. But overall, let's listen again without and then with. So without, very two-dimensional, right? Not a whole lot of movement down in the bottom end in the rhythm section there. There we go. Without. With. I don't know, a little pleasant fatness there and a real accentuation of the bottom end without any breakup or distortion. I really like that plug. I think that rather than spending $200-300 on a tape plug-in, you could probably grab this and get some of that desired analog, magnetic tape / transformer saturation effect.
Yeah, that is a really beautiful low end that it's adding there. It's just really super, super tight and crisp, but it's still fat. It's kind of got it all. It's great plug-in.
And it doesn't seem to really introduce any sibilance. A lot of tape plugins will do that. They'll kind of bump in the mid-range in an unpleasant way that I'm not sure is tapey, but is probably more saturation-esque. And this one doesn't really do that in the same negative way. So you could easily use this on a vocal and not get a whole lot of accentuation, let's say, of sibilance or harsh mids. So you can use that anywhere. Use it on a mix. You could use it on individual instruments.
Oh yeah, and that's that bump is variable now. I believe in an earlier version you couldn't really adjust it, and so some people were saying, "Oh, it's too much. I wish I could turn it down," or I wish I could turn it up. But now that's totally adjustable.
Can tweak it. Yep. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, you can explore Airwindows obviously for days and days and days. I know you got some favorites you have picked out you want to showcase.
Oh, yeah, I do. I will add.
So share up your screen.
If you go to... If you go to airwindows.com, you're going to see his Patreon, and you're going to see also he makes, he tries to release a plugin every week, and he will make a video and also a write-up about each plugin, basically explaining what it does, how it works. These videos are kind of long too. They're like, 20 minutes or something. And this will allow, so am I going to share my screen? Yeah. Okay. So definitely you would want to go to Airwindows and just read up on the different plugins that you're interested in. I mean, he has EQs and compressors and saturators, really good clipping and saturation plugins. Some of my favorite, frankly, I think some of the best clippers in the business, really, that he's done. And then also just stuff like dither, a whole bunch of different flavors of dither, technical plugins, reverbs, whatever. I mean, I think he's just a very creative person. So he tries to come up with these cool ideas, and even when he's doing something like an EQ or a compressor, he's thinking, how can I come at this from a different angle that other designs don't really do? How can I how can I Airwindowsize it, right? So anyway, we've got a mix going on here. We've got various Airwindows sprinkled throughout. I'm just going to roll it, and then we'll go through the tracks, and we'll just pick out where there's some... another love song, really,
Yeah. Another ballad.
So... lovely, pleasant day. Okay, so we've got let's start on the hi-hats, just because it's the first thing I noticed that I have in Airwindows on here. It's a plugin called Energy. It's a high-end booster plugin that doesn't use traditional biquad math. This is where we get into the crazy Chris J theories. It taps into the frequency rate, the sampling rate that you're working at. He calls them taps. So it's tapping in. Anyway, I guess a good characteristic about this, according to Chris, is that it doesn't have any pre-ringing. It doesn't have any kind of smearing of the transient or anything. So something like a percussion or a hat where you really want that to just be crispy and not get washed out in any way, and then this is a really nice top boost. Here we go. Now we can hear it. They give you a blend at the end too, so you can go from nothing to like 100%. Like, hear that? It's just like that's crisp. That is.
That's nice.
It's just right in your face, you know. And that's going to cut through the mix, of course, too, because of the tightness, and that's considerable boost too, as well. But we'll move on to the bass. He's got a plugin called Fathom 5. One of my favorite Airwindows plugin. It's a bass enhancer, sub bass enhancer, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Let me go back to the beginning of the track so we have a little more roll time. Here's without it. And here's what I dialed with it. Here it just fills out that very bottom end. Gives it a whole...
Yeah, it's not really distorting anything at all. I thought maybe some of that saturation was coming from the plug, but it's not. It's all just bottom end roomy.
Yeah. Chris describes this as kind of a cross between an amp and a subharmonic enhancer. So they give you a root note. I think we played with this before, and you can really like pick a different root note. There's there's a frequency control. You just have to play with this, because it's kind of hard to describe it, like what it's doing. There's some grid if you want it, right? Like with the frequency control, and then there's wet dry. And of course, last but not least, is the sub-octave, which you can get some messed up sounds if you want, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That probably is generating something, an octave below.
Oh, totally.
So that is a fun plugin, and that is...
I like that one.
Yeah, and that one saved my hide a few times where I had bass that just...
It wasn't sitting, right? It
wasn't sitting. The frequencies weren't going low enough. It wasn't quite a deep enough sound for what the track needed. And you could try to EQ it, but of course, you know, when you try to EQ something that isn't really there in the first place, you're only going to get so far. You need that frequency to be there, and if it's not there, then you're looking at you've got to generate it at that point, right? So you know, you have plugins like Waves, Low Air, or Submarine's another really cool one that I've been getting into lately, and then they will give you that bottom octave. But this thing is like, I don't know, it sounds less fake to me somehow. It sounds more like it's imbued as part of the sound, and not something that you just generated and threw underneath.
I agree.
So yeah, great plugins. So there's two of them. Let me do another one at least. Let's have a good look at one corner clip, which is I've got it on the kick drum, but I also have it on the master, I believe. Let's just try the master. Here we go. He makes a lot of different clipping, saturation plugins. Some are supposed to be like tubes, and some are supposed to be like consoles. This one is just more technical or something. It's got one corner to the clipping shape. It goes up, and then I don't know. You'd have to watch the video because I can't remember. But all I know is it sounds when I crank this up. Let's see how much I can get away with before it starts sounding too ratty. That's pretty. That's pretty clippy. But right around here, that's not too bad. And that's loud as fuck. Just like, no, how loud do you need it, right? But let's go dial it back just to hear what. So that's basically the mix right there. Probably not clipping very much at all now. And then I love it.
That's trashy.
You know, you might not want.
You know, if you're doing some vintage 9-inch nails kind of sound or whatever, that could really make the mix for you.
Oh yeah. And
just overdo it on purpose.
Yeah, clipping is a pretty cool tool that way too, because you could use a brick wall limiter. A lot of people will use both. So they'll get a couple dBs from the clipper, and then let the limiter finish the job. But of course, the limiter doesn't have to work as hard anymore because you've taken care of some of that. And so between those two, you can sort of texturize. Of course, the clipper is going to add harmonics, so you can hear a brighter sound, a little bit of distortion, and the limiter is not going to give you that, but the limiter will just give you the loudness. So you can, when you have the two of them, you can sort of balance, do I want more harmonics? Do I want more enhancement that way? Or do I want really just the clean loudness from the limiter? And you can have control over both things.
Cheap or free.
Yeah, this thing, exactly. I mean, it's Patreon, right? So I don't know if I'd call it exactly free. Like, if you use this stuff and you like it, you probably should head over there and
of course,
But I think also a lot of people that just that be very appreciative that are really strapped for cash and stuff, and especially in this time of COVID and all that. I mean, it's certainly available to you, and that's just a great lesson too. I think that the best tools are not always the most expensive ones.
That's right.
Great stuff.
I mean, you want to talk about Attitude Hammer? That would be the blessing for today, man. Is just it doesn't have to be expensive. Stop chasing the expensive plugins that emulate vintage hardware, because you're just going to sound like every other record that was made with that vintage hardware. And some of it's good, some of it's really good, but this is also good. Find out what the different tools do. You can work in any budget, I believe, and get started with what is easily available. Learn what it does, break it, push it to its maximum, see what it can and can't do, find out what you like. Now you have those tools at your disposal.
Oh, absolutely. And it's never been easier. Yeah. We're in a golden time of just being able to do anything we want with audio, and now not even having to pay very much to do it.
Yeah. That's right. You get started for so little now. No. Like Reaper, how much does Reaper cost?
Reaper is, there's two levels. Most people probably will be at the $60 level. That's small business, commercial use, small business. And then I think it's pretty generous. Like if you gross more than like $500K a year or something, then they expect you to do the $200
pony up
version.
Yeah.
So
like, oh my God.
And everything comes with it. You could download Reaper, start to finish an amazing record without touching another plugin. Just all the cool stuff that comes with. And
totally. Damien. The response, please, Damien. Well, I mean, we've just scratched the surface, right? If there's like 200 of these things, you got to dig in and see for yourself and watch the videos. But by all means, check these out, add these to your arsenal. I think they're great. You introduced me to them, and I can't believe how good they are.
Yeah, it's a really good designer who's got like a lot of really creative ideas. He's really concerned about the sound. He doesn't like to do a lot of math. His kind of theory has been like, well, you could run it through all the stuff to simulate analog components, or you could just keep the math really simple and pure, get the job done. You're not really modeling, but you are saying, I want a distortion that sort of sounds like a transistor or something. Okay, well, I can make that, but it's not going to be a particular model of a certain console or anything. It's just it's the impression of it, and it's doing the job.
That's right. And there were console M's in here, aren't there? Wasn't there like an SSL type of, So, I mean, don't think that you're not getting it, because it's there.
It is there. There's one that's got like a Neve SSL API switch on it. And then there's a trans desk, which is supposed to be like a transistor desk. There's tube desk, which is like a tube console. He's got another system that's called console, which is kind of weird. You load up your tracks and then you put the master on, and it's supposed to sum things a little differently. It's like this pre-emphasis, post-de-emphasis kind of thing I think he's got going on.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on how it works. I don't know. But I do know that you're going to get some really interesting sounds if you drop by Airwindows.
Yep. Yeah, totally. And what a find, eh? Like the movie Hatchet. It's like, how did I not know this was available to me?
I don't think
this wonderful
Have
world.
I seen Hatchet? I don't believe I have.
Come on,
you got a big surprise coming to you.
Why are you still on the air? You got a big surprise coming to you. Go check it out.
Go check it out.
All right, my brother. It's good to see you. Thanks for the info, man. This is a really good mix, and I love those plugs. Sounds great.
Awesome, man.
Guys, we'll see you next time on the Mixorcist.
Until next time. Was it with Vincent Price and he blows the candle out on the House of Frankenstein?
Yeah, that's right.
Rock and roll.
Catch you later.